Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We're seeing Palantir Technologies that continues to skyrocket and soar, literally up another 11% today in reaction to Palantir moving from the New York Stock Exchange over to the NASDAQ and hopefully trying to get admitted into one of the most glorious funds that retail traders, institutional investors all look at, and that is the QQQ, the NASDAQ 100. This can cause a lot of passive buying pressure, really taking a lot of shares out from the float. Now, talking about what's been happening today, Palantir Technologies on a run. We're going to be breaking down how high is this really going to go? What's the risk right now in terms of downside potential? And specifically, an interesting post from one of the board members of Palantir was released, and then immediately their account was deleted. A lot of drama is starting to be stirred up because of this. We're going to be talking about it, analyzing it, and giving you guys a full breakdown of what's specifically happening in Palantir and even in the market right now that actually closed in the decent red. Now, if you are a new or returning viewer, we're getting close to 18,000 subscribers. Hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, if you pop it up on the screen here, Palantir at 65.77 and even in the after hours at 66.48. This stock is on an absolute roller coaster climbing up that hill. And what we see with Palantir is doing astronomically well, especially for all the people that have been holding for a long time. And even since we've seen the post-election rally, Palantir has been skyrocketing. What we see is jumping 11% today after announcing that move to the NASDAQ. Now, remember, we talked about this in yesterday's video, and we're still continuing to see the reaction of that being played out. Now, shares are up more than 45% since the company's better than reported earnings last Monday. If you want to talk about valuation and disconnection from valuation, talk about it right now because this is getting pretty insane. And talking about this, the company will begin trading on the NASDAQ on November 26th, and it's going to keep its ticker symbol PLTR. Now, closing here at the mid 60s now with a market cap of now 150 billion. We're expecting those shares to move over. One of the things that we do have is them trying to be admitted to the elite NASDAQ 100, like I had mentioned before, and specifically a big welcome party. And that's because the Invesco QQQ Trust right here tracks the NASDAQ 100 and is one of the most popular index funds on the market, currently having net assets of over $300 billion. And if Palantir is able to join that, this ETF that tracks this index will be giving a lot and essentially buying pressure and momentum for Palantir on the passive side of things. Even more people investing in Palantir not knowing what it even is possibly. In the S&P 500, now possibly getting to the NASDAQ. Now, talking about an interesting post right here. You have one of the board members coming out here saying that they are moving Palantir Tech to the NASDAQ because it will force billions in ETF buying and deliver tendies to the retail investors. Tendies, insinuating money. I don't know if you guys noticed it's the GameStop launch, the GameStop trading, but saying player haters, be aware that we've been hated for decades, plural, and that everything we do is to reward and support our diamond hands following. After that post, the account does not exist anymore. The account was deleted. What is going on with that? This is stirring up a lot of drama for all the Palantirians, for all the spec, for all the SaaS stock traders, and even everybody in the AI, trading right now. Stirring up a lot of drama. What does this mean? Why was the statement put out here just in the broad daylight? And then why was the account deleted right after? What are your guys? I want to know, what are your guys' comments and discussions regarding that? What are your opinions? Interesting statement from a board director from PLTR. Don't know, for positive, pro or cons, but just sitting on the sidelines, we'll see what happens with that, if anything. But it's questionable. Why was the account deleted right after if that statement was made? that is kind of where I sit with it right now. You do have Jim Cramer coming out here actually acknowledging that Palantir is performing better than NVIDIA. Talking about Alex Karp, he's talked a big game. Well, we know Alex Karp doing very well in terms of being a CEO for this company, in my own opinion. Until the recent quarter here, soared on an amazing 3 months. Now, he's talking about the recent quarter, but Palantir has had a lot of, really good quarters. That's why we've seen a really big run up in the stock. And talking about here that these guys really excel at one thing most definitely, and that is the procurement process. Interesting statement there from him. But talking about that with Cramer, he always comes out with lots of different remarks, but is actually giving support for Palantir right now. I don't know how many people actually take his opinions seriously. A lot of people believe in the reverse Cramer theory, but just telling you guys that's what he came out and said today. But with Palantir specifically, also, in addition right here, a key highlight is Palantir also held its first developer conference, DevCon 2024. This was from November 13th to the 14th. We can do kind of a summary of some of the big things that came out of that. But this brought together 150 top commercial and government bodies. This is really great because Palantir has really been, as we know, with AIP, has been incorporating to grow on its commercial side of things and governmental side of things. And these things have been coming to fruition. It's becoming a reality that governmental contracts are still on the forefront, while AIP has really expanded into the commercial side of things. So the fact that they have DevCon right here and their first ever developer conference is just bringing more exposure to them, which is more bullishness. So great to see there, and especially with meeting with professional different types of bodies. I think that's important, and establishing those connections. So great to see there. What's happening in the market? We see the market that's actually having a decent sell-off, kind of opposite of what Palantir is experiencing right now. You see the NASDAQ comes down about 2.2%, S&P down 1.3%. Some of the big reasons for this mover is because all of a sudden everybody's starting to get scared of interest rates now. That's because of some remarks, we'll be talking about that, that we got from the Fed, from Powell, that came out and basically said, hey, we have a lot of resiliency and a lot of bullishness in the economy right now. We're not going to be so gun-ho on interest rates. But I think that's kind of what was expected. I mean, why were they going to keep cutting interest rates when we have so much resilience and a lot of pro-macroeconomic data right now? You're seeing stocks that are coming down. They're talking about the rally fizzling here. We did have a big push up after the election. That's calling the post-election rally. A little bit of correction here, a little bit of a selling off. That's not nearly necessarily a bad thing. Why everybody's kind of freaking out? You're seeing Dow more than 2% for some of the big players from the Magnificent Seven: NVIDIA, Meta, Alphabet, Microsoft. However, Tesla was up about 3%. Traders, what they're really grappling on is on the recent comments from the Federal Reserve that said on Thursday that the central bank wasn't in a hurry to cut interest rate. And you're just seeing some type of an emotional kind of psychological reaction here. Noted that the economy's strong growth will permit policymakers to take their time as they decide to how much they want to reduce rates and by when. But we kind of already known this. The Feds have came out and they have said that, hey, they are more kind of prioritizing the actual soft landing goal of the economy and achieving that target inflationary rate of about that 2 to 3%. And, interest rates aren't going to be the top priority compared to what they're trying to do with inflation. They're trying to keep inflation at bay. And if that means having to keep rates steady for a different period of time, that's probably what they're going to do. So that doesn't come to a large surprise to me personally. However, the market's just having more of a bigger reaction to it. You have October retail sales right here on Friday. They showed a 0.4% increase, slightly better than 0.3% forecast from economists, polled by Dow & Jones. So retail sales are doing a little bit better. This is showing here that consumer inflation that was in line with kind of economists' projections. Not a ton of crazy big news there. We're just seeing that the economy is continuing to do fairly well. And we're seeing NVIDIA stock, even though they're down a little bit today, it shows really no quit ahead of fiscal Q3 results. We're also seeing Walmart leads parade of retail reports. A lot of big pieces of macroeconomic data is going to be coming out. NVIDIA, we know that has been on a big run right here. We see that S&P's return, has been doing very well this year. So nonetheless, even though we're having a little bit of a pullback today, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. We know Blackwell chips going to be a big demand for NVIDIA, and we've seen even the CEO coming out saying that the demand is basically unprecedented. They don't know how they're going to keep up. That's a good problem to have. Just basic supply and demand metrics right there. So we know NVIDIA is still continuing to do fairly well, regardless if we see a little bit of a pullback. Right now sitting at about 141, down about 3% on the day. Now, what do you make of all this going into the weekend? Palantir, like I said, sitting at that $65, $66 right now. Do you anticipate we're going to possibly see any type of pullback soon, or do you think this is going to continue to run? I don't know. It's been a crazy acceleration, so I really don't know at this point. Palantir is just kind of flying high, and it doesn't seem like it's running out of gas. Also, what do you think about that statement? Interesting things happening. Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.